81 degrees. It's a warm day here in Landover, Maryland, but gorgeous. The sun is out. It's week 2 of the NFL, and meeting for the 117th time are the Cowboys and Redskins, with Jason Garrett, 10th year overall, 9th full year as head coach, and Jay Gruden now in his 6th year for Washington. And as we said at the beginning, biggest storyline in this game is this man, Adrian Peterson, a coach's decision for the first time in his career, not suiting up. Last week, he's in there with the injury to Geis. The Cowboys won the toss. They have deferred. The Redskins will receive. And here we go from Landover, Maryland. Steven Sims Jr. won't even take a look. It's over his head. And here come the Redskins taking the field with Case Keenum, who had a career day. It just was a battle of 2 halves, though, Charles, in Philadelphia last week.
First half, tremendous. Second half, a struggle, mainly because they couldn't run the football. Case Keenum threw it well, spread it around. But in this ball game, running the football would be paramount to capitalize on Adrian Peterson getting his first action of the year.
You know, and Peterson, the other story with that is that even though Adrian is 34 years old, he rushed for 1,042 yards after he signed with Washington last year.
Right side! Hey, we're good. Hey, we're 50. 80! Right side!
Fake to Peterson. Keenum sets, looking to throw, looking to air it out deep for McLaurin. It's incomplete. Well, we saw McLaurin have a long touchdown, 69 yards last week. That time the pass was underthrown.
Underthrown a little bit, and the coverage was terrific by Byron Jones, number 31. Remember, he had surgery in the offseason and was really the last Cowboy to be certified ready to play. Had him on a little bit of a pitch count in the opener against the Giants. Starting him today, and he was not fooled on the play fake early and stayed locked up with the rookie out of Ohio State.
And McLaurin had the deep touchdown, had another one that would have been a touchdown but was overthrown, and that time it was underthrown. So 2nd and 10. Throw it again. Keenum has time over the middle, and he's got a completion. It's the tight end Jeremy Sprinkle who gets the call today. He's got 11 yards and a Washington first down. There's some injury news with Washington, and that is once again Jordan Reed inactive, still dealing with concussion symptoms, so he's not playing. So it'll be Sprinkle and Vernon Davis, the ageless one, at tight end.
And early on, you just saw the offensive line of Washington on your screen and the very young receiving core. They got some good action against Philadelphia, but that offensive line, you would think early in this game, hand the ball to Peterson, hand the ball to Peterson. Jay Gruden trying to use that against Dallas, go and play action early, trying to see if they can get them loosened up before they do run it.
It's Richardson in motion. They will give to Peterson. He gets swallowed up whole. Nowhere to go. Malik Collins busted that play up big time, and Peterson is going to lose 5.
The intention is to run the football. The problem is you have to block the people up front, and Collins does a tremendous job of just splitting the block and getting inside Roulier, the center, ultimately. And once he's past him, he wreaks havoc in the backfield, and now the rest of the blue shirts get there, including Tank Lawrence, number 90.
Hey, Mike. Iowa. 5-4.
2nd and 10. Cowboys have the nickel defense on there right now. Again, it's Paul Richardson, number 10, in motion. He is the veteran wideout on this team. Here is Keenum. Pressure in his face. Throws tipped. And it's incomplete. He was trying to get to Trey Quinn, but Anthony Brown was right there. And so far, we've seen a couple of excellent coverages by Dallas.
Yeah, the first two out of the first 3 passes truly contested by Dallas as we take a look at their defense. And DeMarcus Lawrence will get a little bit more time this week coming off of offseason shoulder surgery. 10.5 sacks last year. One of the best linebacking cores, if not the best linebacking core in the NFL, resides in Dallas. And then Chris Richard, the defensive coordinator, passing game defense coordinator, has taken the reins from Rod Marinelli and calls the entire game on defense now.
Cowboys come with a 4-man rush on 3rd and long. They're going to dump it out of the backfield to Thompson, who makes a man miss, and diving forward. He has a good effort, but it looks like he's going to be about a yard shy. And that's where they will mark Thompson out of bounds. So on 3rd and 14, he picks up 13, and it'll be a punting situation.
And against most linebacking cores, you like this matchup with Chris Thompson, with the ability to possibly turn the corner on a linebacker in open space. But Leighton Vander Esch, as fast as he is long in terms of length, able to get there just in time and force him over the sideline.
Randall Cobb is back deep to receive the punt for the Cowboys, a longtime Packer, signed a 1-year contract. Had a good week 1 as Treskoway will punt it away. And it's Cobb, good kick, backed up by his own 5, makes a man miss, and he's taken down inside the 10. Excellent kick, and then Deshazer Everett on the special teams coverage. He had some help there as well. When we come back, Dak Prescott, who had a perfect quarterback rating in week 1, looking to lead this Dallas offense into week 2. In the first quarter from Landover, Maryland, as the Redskins punted it away. And here is Dallas's first possession of the game. They're going to go with an I formation, and they will go to Elliott, who gets across the 10 for a short game before he's bottled up by Bostic and a couple of others. And so Dak Prescott, Charles, coming off a career week for him, a perfect passer rating, and did so many things well. But you look at what he has done now the last 9 regular season games. How about this? The most passing yards in the NFL and a completion percentage of 72.
And a quarterback in his 4th year that has a perfect passer rating in an opening game might turn cartwheels. This is a very level-headed young man.
Be a second down and 8. 4-man rush. Prescott is going to throw it incomplete. There's Randall Cobb, who was hit immediately. It was Landon Collins, the ex-Giant, who signed the monster $84 million deal in the offseason on the stop. It'll bring up 3rd down. And it looks like the Cowboys are going to hurry things up on a 3rd and 4. They won't huddle. Prescott looking over the middle, incomplete. Jimmy Moreland, the rookie, knocked it away. He was trying to get it to Michael Gallup, and the Cowboys will punt.
And you notice the exact red man coverage, which is what they had on that, with a 3 safety in the middle, calling cover 1. Now watch what Dak picks out. He says, I'm going to go with the veteran Randall Cobb. Sorry, I had the wrong guy's circle. Veteran Randall Cobb against the rookie. And look what ends up as, Gallup against the rookie, Jimmy Moreland. So he said, I like the matchup, taking on the youngster out of James Madison. And Moreland held up well on that first spare. And
Gallup had an excellent game last week with 7 catches for 158 yards. Here's the punt. And it is Quinn to receive across the 40. Trey Quinn is whacked out of bounds right around the 45-yard line. It's a good position for Washington on their second possession. Scoreless early in this one. Redskins had a 17-0 lead in Philadelphia last week. They had an excellent first half. They possessed the ball. They had big plays. They had it all. In the second half, they did none of it. They didn't have the ball from us because the Eagles dominated. And when they did, the one thing they couldn't do is run the football. See if that changes today at all. There's Peterson in the backfield on a 1st and 10 from the 44. Good field position. Peterson looking for a seam. Has one. And has a decent run, but we got a penalty flag back around the line of scrimmage. So let's see what that is against this Washington team, which draws a lot of penalties. They had 8 penalties against their offense last week, and there's another one.
Replay, 1st down.
Sprinkle the tight end. See him reach out with the left hand and grab Lawrence right there, number 90. And you can see the hand on the inside on the breastplate. Right there, the umpire, Paul King, loosens up his pitching arm on this warm afternoon in Landover, Maryland.
And you saw Sean Hockley. He's our referee today. 2nd year in that role for the league. Good to have him with us. There's a lot of holding penalties for the Redskins. Puts them back in a 1st and 20. Here's Keenum looking to throw. He'll get it out to Thompson in the flat. He gets back across or near the original line of scrimmage anyway. Let's go down to the sidelines with Pam Oliver.
Hey there, Kevin. Another thing about Adrian Peterson, he hates that he's getting this job because of an injury to Darius Geis, but he's also eager to prove that he is nowhere near bench warmer material. Now, Jay Gruden, to be perfectly clear, he is still not in favor of Peterson's strength, which is a north-south running style. He feels like it limits the offense and gives the defense way too many opportunities. Now, one thing else about Gruden, he told me as play caller, he will strive for a balanced today. It should help Peterson, and it will help the offense.
Well, that we will watch for, Pam, no doubt. Here's Thompson again, catching out of flat, makes a man miss, and Chris Thompson, it's been his show so far, and he gets it across midfield, and it brings up at least a third and short for Washington. And Charles, that's really what it comes down to, right? I mean, I think they've said that before. They're going to try and get balance, but I mean, I have to see it to believe it, to be honest.
Yeah, and when they talk about balance in this league is not necessarily 50-50 run pass.
No.
Balance is being able to dictate when you want to do something. When you want to run it, you run it. When you throw it, you throw it with success. In this game, Dallas has taken away the receivers downfield early, and the check down to Chris Thompson has become Case Keenum's #1 throw.
Brody got 3 catches on 3rd down. Here is Keenum. With time now, pocket breaks down. He slings it near side of Richardson, and he is buried. Byron Jones, second good play he's made here this afternoon, and that'll put Washington in a punting situation.
And last week, one of the things we saw with Philadelphia in their passing game was that they made people miss downfield after the catch and accumulated that yak yardage. Now watch what happens here with Byron Jones. If you're a good defense, you limit the yards after the catch. Richardson catches it, has a chance to make a move and possibly get a first down. Not on Byron Jones's watch there. Excellent job in the open field.
There's Randall Cobb, Tressway. Had a 48-yard punt his last time. Cobb calling a fair catch, and he does so right at the 10. So another good punt by way, but Washington squanders good field position. Got a scoreless game, 8:40 to go in the first. There is Kellen Moore, his 2nd year of coaching in the National Football League, and he's an offensive coordinator already. That tells you all you need to know about his smarts.
Can I see some ID, please, sir?
Oh, man. Troy called him the pizza boy on the broadcast last week. I'll tell you one thing, he has done a great job.
Yeah, he's got a great mind, doesn't he?
Quarterback coach last year, offensive coordinator this year. Here is Prescott to throw it. Coming near side. There is Jason Witten, who is cut down out around the 15-yard line. Witten, of course, at 37 years old, coming back after 1 year off in the Monday Night Football booth. And he makes the catch on that play for Dak Prescott, who had just an amazing week 1. Did so many things great. Told you about that perfect passer rating. I think one thing about Dak, when you look at him, here's one thing that stands out to me, Charles. Cowboys are 33-16 when he starts a football game.
2 division titles in his first 3 seasons.
That's a stat I like. 2nd down and 4, and they will run it. A little stutter step for Elliott, and he is taken down by Montez Sweat, the rookie. We have our first game break of the day. Let's say hi to Carissa Thompson.
Hello, Kevin. Cardinals-Ravens up the road from you guys. Lamar Jackson picking up right where he left off last week. A 7-play, 94-yard drive ending like that. Mark Andrews has his team up early, 7-0. Kevin?
Well, I'm going to quote Lamar himself, Carissa. Not bad for running back, Charles. Right? We have.
And look at this.
This is Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. This is a big deal because coming into today, there's been so much injury in the Redskins secondary. They had to put Greg Stroman. They got rid of him. He was hurt. Quentin Dunbar and Fabian Moreau are out today. They are inactive with different injuries. So, boy, they are already really, really thin out there. And now they bring on DeShazer Everett, who's a safety, but they put him on at corner out of the outside. You got to watch that matchup. Here, though, they're just going to run it and get more than that. It's Ezekiel Elliott, who's out near the 35.
Just watch the front of the Cowboys take control, and then Zeke with good vision sees the gap there and is able to cut back. Play looks like it's designed to go left. He sees the hole to the right, shrugs off Ryan Kerrigan, and rumbles into the secondary. And look at him drop the shoulder and take on Monte Nicholson for extra yardage.
Well, Zeke last week, 13 carries, 53 yards, and he had 37 snaps. He just had 1 week of practice coming off that holdout. Here's Prescott. A couple of fakes coming back to Elliott on the near side, looking for blocks, and he doesn't have any. Nice play by the rookie Cole Holcomb out of North Carolina, 5th-round draft pick, who played a lot last week and played well at 8 tackles last week.
And one of the strengths of this Washington defense, a defensive front that runs as well. So you're exactly right. Cole Holcomb diagnosed the play, stayed at home. But you see who helped him finish it off? The nose tackle, Deron Payne, running from inside out to help make a play downfield.
Rodgers-Cromartie is back in the game. He'll be on the top of your screen, matched up with Gallup.
Might want to test him if I'm Dak. I might want to see what he's got and take a shot at him up top.
Kind of hobbled onto the field. It's a four-man rush. Prescott looking that way. Instead, we'll dump it down to Elliott, who surges his way forward near a first down. He's going to be about a yard shy.
I think if you are the Dallas staff up in the press box and you're looking down from your coaching box, you're telling Kellen Moore, your offensive coordinator, take some shots out there and let's see what Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie has. He hobbled back onto the field after hobbling off. So if he gives extra cushion, throw it underneath and make him make one-on-one tackles. If he doesn't give extra cushion, push him deep and see if he can keep up.
It's Randall Cobb in motion on a 3rd down and 1. Four-man rush. Time. Out breaks down. Prescott stays alive. Tipped in the air. It's intercepted. Monte Nicholson has it to safety. Looking for a block. Gets one. Still on his feet. Nicholson spinning his way inside the 40. And the first interception that Prescott has ever thrown against Washington, and a big return by Nicholson.
And they did try that because watch Cobb to your right, number 18 in blue. He comes underneath. It's not there because of the pressure by Payne. And then when Dak shakes free, he tries to sneak it in there. And a nice job by Holcomb, the rookie out of North Carolina, getting a hand on the football and popping it in the air for Monte Nicholson. Actually, it wasn't even Holcomb. It was right off the hands of Randall Cobb because the ball was slightly behind. Good straight arm there by Nicholson, but this is what threw off the timing. Deron Payne, number 94, not letting Dak Prescott get comfortable in the pocket.
It's only the 2nd career interception for Nicholson. It was a 4th-round draft pick back in 2017. He lost his job last year to Ha-Ha Clinton Dix, and that's a big play. And here are the Redskins set up in good field position right now. And they will run it to Peterson. Adrian Peterson fighting his way forward inside the 35. And there it is. Told you that was the first interception for Prescott against Washington in 169 pass attempts, and then the 22-yard return by Monte Nicholson.
If you're Nicholson, you got to go up and tell Deron Payne, thank you. He disrupted the timing of the play and helped contribute to it.
On 2nd down, here is Peterson on the jump cut. That's his trademark, and he's got a first down. So a couple of carries, AP trying to get him going, and that will move the chains.
And it's not like the holes are super large right now. They're giving him just enough, and then he's making his own way after that. And it was good enough on 2 carries to get him a first down.
Fake to Peterson. Keenum sees some pressure, rolling away. Now more pressure, throws on the run. Somehow Peterson came down with it. That was a high ball, but he came down and made the catch for a short gain. We also have a penalty back near the quarterback.
Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And there's that penalty bug again for Washington. That time it's on Brandon Sheriff, the right guard.
2-time Pro Bowler, came into the league as a left tackle. They moved him to guard. Look at the hand right there. See where he's got it? Got the hand underneath the pads, and he is really latched on. That was Antoine Woods. Looked like he was holding.
So Washington in a great field position on the last drive. Holding penalty kind of killed that. And now after the interception return, the first down by Peterson, another holding penalty backs him up. Now you're looking at a 1st and 20 back at the 38.
Hey, shot! Hey, we're good, we're good. 180! What's that?
Steven Sims Jr. on the jet sweep gets it, and he's stepped out of bounds right around the 35-yard line. One thing about Adrian Peterson, Charles, you brought this up, and I thought it was a good point. You think of, when he's in doubt, that's kind of when he goes nuts, right? The big injury in 2011, 2012, he had a big game and quite the year, I might point out, that year.
Yeah, ran for 2,000 yards.
2,000 yards. 2017, he gets traded from the Saints to the Cardinals. They kind of thought he was done. Well, he had 134 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first game. in Arizona. And then, again, they think, oh, maybe he's done. Week 1, what does he do? 96 yards, 70 receiving yards. So last week he's a healthy scratch. He's kind of doubted. What does he do today?
Yeah, doubted at your own peril. He has shown throughout his career when he's had a little bit of adversity, he bounces back big.
Fake on the outside. They come back on the inside. A little nifty play call. And again, it goes to Sims Jr., the wide receiver, who gets back across the original line of scrimmage. And it'll be a 3rd down and about 8.
When did Case Keenum become a single wing tailback? Watch the action here. Fake there on the jet sweep, which they just showed. Then look at the blocking here and here and here to create the opportunity, because he fakes it on the jet sweep, then he hands it back to Steven Sims, hoping that Dallas will jump out on the jet sweep, and a nice little hole opened up to bring up 3rd down.
And we get a timeout. First one called by Washington here with 2:06 to go in this first quarter. And they're facing a 3rd and 8. Well, there's one big play, but so far relatively quiet first quarter. 2:06 to go in the first quarter from Landover, Maryland. Cowboys Redskins are scoreless after the interception from Monte Nicholson and a big return. Washington has a 3rd and 8 from the 26. They go 3 wide. And Chris Thompson in the backfield. He's already got 3 catches. Here's Keenum. Looking left, going left. Trey Quinn coming back to make a catch. Makes a move, and he's got a 1st down. And we have a flag from the secondary. So if it holds, it's a 1st down. Let's see what the penalty is, though.
It had to be the back judge, Rich Martinez, deep in the middle of the field, throwing that one.
Anthony Brown was on the coverage. Quinn made that nice cut after the catch.
Holding. Offense, number 17. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
That is the 3rd offensive holding call on Washington already today.
And this was not the interior of their offensive line. This was a wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, the rookie out of Ohio State. So watch out all the way out here. So here's McLaurin coming in motion. And he gets held up going through. They called 17. If anything, it's a hold on the defensive back. It could not be a hold on McLaurin.
That can't be on.
That cannot be on McLaurin. They may have gotten it mixed up.
The holding was by the defensive back that was holding number 17. That penalty's declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
Yeah, that's a great job by Sean Hockley and his crew, because we're watching that like, wait a second, and they figured that out on the field, and that was clearly the right call.
It certainly was, and good job, as you said, staying with it. Kept the play alive because Trey Quinn goes down and catches it, puts a nice move on Anthony Brown, and picks up the 1st down. Trey Quinn, the 2nd-year man out of SMU, the last draft pick in his class in 2018. Also known forever in the NFL as Mr. Irrelevant. He's turned himself relevant here in Washington. Allowed them to let Jamison Crowder go, who was their slot receiver last year.
So after the play up on the 16-yard line, Adrian Peterson back in the game. And they give it to him. Peterson trying to sprint by Byron Jones, which is tough to do because he can fly. And he's going to get inside the 20. Pick up about 4 on the play, maybe 5.
Long, there's a ways to go, obviously, in this drive, but I would not doubt that Jay Gruden's thinking 4 downs here. Set the tone early in this game. They didn't capitalize earlier when they had great field position. Now they're down here deep. If it comes down to a 4th down and 1 or so, I wouldn't expect the field goal kicker to try it out there. I would not be surprised at all if he decided early in this game to go ahead and try and score a touchdown on this drive.
They put Chris Thompson out as a wide receiver. He's in the slots. On a 2nd down. Again, they're going to give it inside to Sims, who makes a nice move, and he's down about a yard shy of a 1st down. So a new wrinkle, Steven Sims Jr. being involved in a couple of carries and also on that one fake in the run game. He's a wide receiver. A rookie from Kansas.
And can we go back to the point our colleague Pam Oliver made earlier about the running game? Adrian Peterson, a north-south runner. Head coach Jay Gruden likes that flexibility to be able to get to the perimeter a little bit more. And he's done that today, not with Peterson, but with his wide receiver Steven Sims on variations of the jet sweep.
3rd down and 2. On the fake, Keenum's going to throw it to Peterson. He's got it, looking for the end zone. And he's going to be shy, but a 1st and goal for Washington.
He's not supposed to be a guy who catches very many passes. Remember his reputation in Minnesota? Not great hands, didn't throw it to him very much. Adrian Peterson always insisted that he could catch the football. We just didn't have the quarterbacks who kept throwing it to me. And here in Washington, he's caught more footballs than ever before.
End of the 1st quarter with Washington on the doorstep when we come back. At the 2nd quarter, Washington held the ball for most of the 1st quarter, and they'll start off with a 1st and goal on the 1.
And nothing would be better for this team right now than to add offensive line to wedge a hole and Adrian Peterson to go into the end zone with the football. Tony Bergstrom, extra offensive lineman, in for blocking support, number 66 in white.
They have Christian in there too, so 7 linemen and Ryan Anderson, a linebacker, is the fullback. I think they're going to run. It's Peterson. They will, and he's fighting his way near, but he will not get in. And on your point, if he were to get in, he would pass Jim Brown for number 5 all time on rushing touchdowns. But with that huge formation, they couldn't get enough push.
Yeah, a lot of back when I used to see this in college football, they used to call that formation the barge. Everyone across the offensive line, nothing but offensive linemen. And I will tell you this, I wouldn't be daunted by not getting in on the first snap. I'd come back with it again, Anderson, the linebacker fullback, and keep going at it and use that big force, which is Peterson, to try to get to the end zone. The psyche of this team would be lifted if Peterson scores.
They will give it to Peterson with the cut, and he is in. Touchdown.
So look at that mass of humanity. Now look at Anderson, 52, leading right there, drops that shoulder, and Peterson sees enough gap inside of Sean Lee, number 50, to dive. Look at the eyes, because the eyes are going to carry the feet to where the opening is. He sees it, makes his cut, and is decisive about it. Puts his shoulders down, twists them, and dives into the end zone for the 1st score of the game. And I'm just telling you, KB, for this Washington team, after last week, Peterson being a healthy scratch, team coming to his defense, that was huge for everyone to have 26 get into the end zone.
It was not a happy locker room, right? Guys popped off to the media. Morgan Moses, one of them. I mean, they wanted him in there, and he's in there and he scores. And Washington, after that interception by Monte Nicholson, I mean, when you go 2 plays in a row with 7 offensive linemen and a fullback, you're in business.
There's a purpose there, and you've identified what you're going to do. Now you just have to execute it, and on 2 plays, they got it done and got in. Remember, Morgan Moses called Adrian Peterson not dressing a slap in the face. Those are powerful words to say back to your head coach and to your organization. And Peterson now has scored early.
Here is the extra point up and good by Dustin Hopkins. And with 14:15 to go in the 2nd quarter, it's 7-0 Washington. Right back after this message from State Farm. Oh, no, back to you, Pam. You got a commercial. I love it.
You know they call me Big Time, right?
Yes.
And that is not Pam. It's Miss Oliver to you.
That is true.
So noted. So noted. How about that, our Hall of Famer? And Pam, you gave us a report early about Adrian Peterson and the running game, how Jay Gruden liked to have balance. To me, it looks like balance should be number 26 touching it more. What do you think?
I agree with that completely. Jay Gruden, though, seems to be using those running backs in different ways. He's utilizing them in different ways, and it seems like it's catching the Dallas defense a little off guard, but you can't go wrong when you hand that ball to number 26.
Pam, well done on the report and on the commercial. I know, did she bump Aaron Rodgers from the commercial?
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
what happened?
Oh, yeah. Look, well, she is big time. Wow. That's our Hall of Famer.
Adrian Peterson also big time, by the way. The 8th most rushing yards in history. Now, as I said, he moves past the great Jim Brown. 107 touchdowns rushing in his career. Walter Payton is next. He is 3 away. And, of course, this all started with this. The throw behind Cobb. It was tipped by him. And then Monte Nicholson with the interception. And they survived a holding penalty, too. And then it was Peterson on the 2nd try behind the jumbo line. And it's 7-0 Redskins over the Cowboys here in quarter number 2 from Landover, Maryland. And now it's Dallas's turn. They will give it to their workhorse and try and get the ground game going themselves. It's Elliott on the carry. And it'll be interesting, Charles, to see with Elliott today. Talked about 37 snaps last week. You know, quite honestly, they didn't need to, run him into the ground because the offense was clicking on all cylinders. I wonder what the snap count will be today.
It'll be higher. I talked with Gary Brown, their running backs coach. He said, we're still going to be careful with him. We're not going to use him all up. It's a long season. But he said, we do plan to lather him up a little bit more today. So I expect Zeke to touch it somewhere between 15 and 20 times.
4 carries, 25 yards so far. Prescott pressure coming, stands in, fires a dart, and it's dropped. Well, that was right in there in the hands of Amari Cooper, and he couldn't corral it. A 3rd down and 5. Meanwhile, we've got another game break. Let's check in with Carissa.
Thanks, Kevin. So the Packers were already up 14-0 and able to capitalize on a Kirk Cousins fumble. Aaron Jones takes this one in from 2 yards. Packers 21-0, but Dalvin Cook just scored, so we're looking at 21-6. Kevin?
Okay, interesting, Carissa. Thanks. 3rd and 5 for the Cowboys. 4-man pressure. It's in trouble. Dak spins away. Here comes another one. It's Kerrigan, and he drops him.
Okay, so take a look right here. Deron Payne comes right up the gut. And look at the pressure he puts on Dak Prescott once again, which allows number 91, Ryan Kerrigan, to run him down from the backside. So one of the great scouting report ledgers about Ryan Kerrigan, he's not just an effort player, he's a 2nd and 3rd effort player every play. Because of Payne setting it up, Kerrigan's extra efforts got the sack.
Here is Quinn on the punt. He'll call a fair catch at the 26. Payne has had some pressures today. Remember, they're playing without Jonathan Allen, their best defensive lineman. Payne has been there. Kerrigan's first sack of the year. 7-0 Redskins. Aerial coverage today is brought to you by State Farm here from Landover, Maryland. Warm, sunny day, 81-degree temperatures, and Ryan Kerrigan with his first sack of the year to halt the Cowboys drive, and here are the Redskins up by 7 on the Adrian Peterson touchdown run. They started on 1st and 10 from their own 26. And it's Peterson getting through the line of scrimmage. Adrian Peterson making things happen, and he's going to pick up nearly 10. We'll see where they spot it. Might be a 1st down.
Going to the left. So watch all the movement. Nice job by Donald Penn, 72, right there, riding the pass rusher upfield. And that was number 98, Tyrone Crawford, which helped create a natural seam. And then Peterson, once he sees it, blasts for it. Sean Lee makes a nice play to get a hand on him. Otherwise, Adrian Peterson's in full gallop.
Yeah, he's thinking that too, but he did get enough for a 1st down, so a 10-yard run for Peterson.
Rhino, set!
Including the touchdown. They'll run it again. In trouble, gets out of 1 tackle and turns a negative into a positive. Tyrone Crawford was there, but he got away for a short gain.
One of the things that Washington came into the game thinking would be a challenge, because it always is with Dallas's defensive front, is their movement. Because they will twist, they will stunt, they will slant, they will do a number of things with that defensive line that can confound the blocking schemes. But so far early in this game, I think what Jay Gruden has done is shown them we'll run at you, we'll run to the perimeter, we'll show you a little extra fake action, a little misdirection, and has kept them at home a little bit more and allowed them to run right at the Dallas front here in the early going.
Van Der Esch coming on a blitz. He's picked up, and Keenum gets rid of it, but it's incomplete. Looking for Vernon Davis. There is a flag back at the quarterback, though. And let's uncover the penalty.
That looked like it came from Sean Hockley.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 90. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
That's on DeMarcus Lawrence, who is coming with pressure from the other side, and it'll move it ahead 15 yards.
He's coming out to get a quick blow. Remember, he had the offseason shoulder surgery. So watch at the quarterback. Lawrence, he works inside, and then right at the end is going at his legs, and that's what the personal foul is. See, because right at the bottom, right there where he trips him up at the ankles, and you had the high-low, because on the other side, Van Der Esch was hitting him in the upper body, and they will go on the side of error to protect the quarterbacks.
I get that. If you're DeMarcus Lawrence, what are you supposed to do?
That's going to be the question, and we've seen that question asked many times.
Yeah, we get movement. Antoine Woods jumped. We'll see if he was baited. And it looks like he wasn't. Let's go back to L.A. Dean Blanduno, our rules analyst, is standing by. Dean, what about that last play, that last call on Lawrence?
So it is a point of emphasis when you talk about hitting the quarterback in the knee area or below. It looked like a high-low, but you want to watch that defender coming from the quarterback's right-hand side. That's what they called. Can he get his body off to the side, or is he really driving his shoulder into the knee area? It's player safety. They're going to make that call when there's any threat.
I totally get it, and I understand it. And that was the call. As we get a completion to Wendell Smallwood, and we get a penalty, and there's an injured Cowboy. Antoine Woods is down, grabbing his knee.
75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's another penalty on Brandon Sheriff, his second today, but now concern for Woods, who's turned into a really good player on that Cowboys defensive line, the former USC Trojan. And they tend to Antoine Woods. We'll take a break. Hopefully he's okay. 7-0 Washington here in the second. It is the 117th meeting between these two rivals going back to 1960. Some of the faces and great teams and great games that the Cowboys and Redskins have played over the ages. And looking to add to that here today in Landover, Maryland. Antoine Woods was being tended to for a long time. Certainly Sonny is one of them. Woods got help and ended up walking off under his own power. Hopefully he turns out to be all right, as Smallwood in the game getting another carry. But let's go back to the injury to Woods. It didn't look great initially.
So watch Woods right here, okay? And then watch from the left side. A teammate's going to come in, unfortunately, and he's engaged with a blocker. He bumps into Woods, and that caused the injury.
Keenum going deep, going for McLaurin. Great coverage. That's twice they've tried to go deep to Terry McLaurin, and Byron Jones has been on him like glue.
Yeah, so unless Byron Jones is going every snap with Terry McLaurin, if you want to run scary Terry, I would try the opposite side, even though Chidobe Awuzie can really run as well. I would try him for a while, because Byron Jones looks like he's as healthy as he's been in a long time and exhibiting his speed and skills. And he was a lockdown corner last year, went to his first Pro Bowl in 2018.
Yeah, he didn't play a full game last week, only 28 snaps, still recovering from off-season hip surgery, but he's playing already more today. 3rd and long, Keenum, pressure, and down he goes. Tyrone Crawford came flying in and took down Case Keenum, and the Redskins will have to punt.
And you remember that movement we talked about, Kevin, that the Cowboys do? This is what we're going to get here. Watch what they're going to end up doing out here, okay? Boom, inside, and then looping around, and here he comes. And they foiled the blocking scheme of Washington, but in addition, the coverage downfield was tremendous. And that allowed Tyrone Crawford to engulf Case Keenum.
So a punting situation for Tress Way. He's had punts of 48 and 39. Cedric Wilson, who was just brought onto the active roster, is back to receive. Former Boise State Bronco back to the 5. It's Wilson up across the 10, and that's where he's tackled. We were told he would share the responsibility with Randall Cobb today. 6th-round pick last year, and we have a penalty on the far side of the field. 7-0 Washington. Back and find out in a moment. WWE Friday Night SmackDown moves to Fox on October the 4th, and some breaking news for you. The WWE Draft will take place live on Friday Night SmackDown October 11th right here on Fox. Draft will continue the following Monday on Raw on USA. It's one of the biggest events for WWE. The destiny of all the superstars will be determined, and that's Friday, October 11th, right here on Fox. Here from Landover, Maryland. We told you there was a penalty going to the break. It was assessed on the Cowboys on a hold on the return, so that's why they're backed up now inside their own 5-yard line, and they will run it with a huge hole where Ezekiel Elliott has a gain of 8 on 1st down. And if ever they needed this great offensive line, this would be the time.
Certainly, and Travis Frederick is back. Look at this offensive line movement. Look at him create a nice little wedge there. He double teamed 72 Frederick with 52 Connor Williams to give Ezekiel Elliott a little bit of space.
Well, Frederick, it's so good to see him back. Missed all of last year as Prescott surveys, nothing there. He's going to take off and run, and a big gain for Dak Prescott out across the 25. And the first time he's tucked it away and run it today, he picks up 15 yards.
Look at the growth of Dak Prescott as a fourth-year quarterback, understanding where they are on the field, knowing that if I don't have my targets now, let's not hang in there this time in the pocket. Let's go get some yardage and get us out of the shadow of our end zone. At worst, you want to get 2 first downs here to help out your defense. They've got the initial one to try and work on some more.
And so they get out of the shadow of their own end zone with a couple of plays. And they'll give it to Elliott, who can't find much room. You know, was just starting to say Travis Frederick. So good to see him back on the field. Their center, 4-time Pro Bowler, missed all of last year with Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's an autoimmune disease, and it affects everything, the whole nervous system. And you know, he told us, talking to him yesterday, Charles, said the hardest part was isolation. You know, you try to be around your teammates, but you're just not there as part of the wins and losses. Well, he's back. Played a great game last week. 2nd and 9 here. Prescott throws. Good catch on the far side of the field. I think that was Gallup coming in there, and it was. He had a great game last week, and he hauls it in tight coverage. And that'll be a 2nd down and 1, I believe. 3rd down and 1.
And Gallup,
first down. How about that? They said first down.
And Gallup needed that catch because the first couple he hasn't been able to hold on to. He needed that one to go ahead and get his confidence going again after last week's big performance.
Easy. What?
On first down, here's Prescott. Lets it fly. It's Gallup again who makes the catch and has another Dallas first down. And you talked about Gallup, Charles, last week. You know, last year, you're talking about a guy that they just couldn't connect. He caught only 33 of 68 passes his way. That's under 50%. Last week, all 7 passes his way he caught.
How about the benefits of an entire offseason? Get some extra work in with your quarterback, more comfortable your second year as a player. And Michael Gallup is showing now he's dependable. Plus, he was out there every day during the preseason practice. Amari Cooper was dinged up, didn't have all of his guys. He got extra time for Gallup.
And it worked. Prescott maybe tipped at the line. Cobb corrals it somehow and works his way up near midfield. And now we have a game break. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
You know what? After being injured his first 2 seasons in the league, Dalvin Cook shows you why the Vikings are so impressed with what he can do when he's healthy. 75 yards, speeding down the sideline, and they needed it. They were down 21-0 less than a minute into the second quarter. That draws them a little closer, 21-7 right now. Kevin, Charles, and Van.
Hey, Kurt, earlier this season, I said, boy, I really like that Alexander Madison to a Vikings official. He said, yeah, but we really love 33.
Yes, they do. A lot of time for Prescott. Gonna launch it. Going deep down the field. And it's caught for the touchdown. Devin Smith, the speedster out of Ohio State, the former Jet, with his first catch of the year. It's 51 yards.
So what's been the talk coming into this game? How Dak threw it off a play action against the Giants, 14 of 15, 217 yards, 3 touchdowns. Well, their ability to run the football on this drive and their reputation as a team that runs the football consistently set that up very well. 0 pressure on Dak in the pocket. Devin Smith, who came out of Ohio State a few seasons ago, the reputation as a high flyer and vertical threat. After 2 knee injuries, back healthy and catches his first touchdown in a Dallas uniform.
How about his first catch since 2016? As the extra point is up and it doinks home. Maher will send it through. So Devin Smith, you talked about his speed, you talked about his injuries. He beat Josh Norman on the play. He hasn't caught a ball since 2016.
But watch at the top, because you got Josh Norman, one of the better corners in the game. He's locked up now. He bails out, so it's not strictly man-to-man. He's expecting help right here. And look at the safety come underneath, reading this receiver. Unfortunately, he needed to stay deep to help out his corner. So everyone's going to go home and say, boy, Josh Norman got toasted on this one, but that's not the actual truth. He's expecting that help right there. And I believe that's Monte Nicholson, number 35, who sat down on the route, taking a shorter coverage. And Devin Smith ran past Norman, who was expecting the safety help in the middle. And when he didn't get it, the result is touchdown, Dallas.
Well, you know what's troubling if you're Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator for Washington. Monte Nicholson did the same thing on a deep ball to Deshaun Jackson last week. He took the up man, Alshon Jeffrey. He jumped that, and then Deshaun Jackson had a 50-plus yard touchdown. So it's almost identical.
I didn't play in this league, but it's the same no matter what league. As a safety, you're as deep as the deepest in most of your coverages. If you jump up on something short and leave someone hanging, that can often result, and we just saw it there.
Tell you one thing, play action suits Dak Prescott. You talked about the running game, Charles. This is what he did last week. 14 of 15 with 3 touchdowns on the play pass because the threat of that electric run game, and then, hey, take it and go deep for the first catch for that man, Devin Smith. And
one thing he told us is the play action allows him, what did he tell us? To calm his feet in the pocket off of his drop. Meaning you don't have to be as strong a drop as like a 5 or 7 step drop pass. Play action, you fake it. You know you're getting extra time because they're reading run. Now look how calm he is in the pocket. Look at his feet, nice and comfortable, able to step in and throw the ball to the open spot.
How do the Redskins respond? It's Keenum who fires to Peterson, and he is bottled up immediately. Nowhere to run, as that's the safety Xavier Woods, who led the team in tackles last week, came up to make that play for no gain. And think about this for Washington. They were up 17-0 in Philly. Now it's only 7-0 here today, but you know, it's how do they do now, right? We've already seen them be able to take a lead early in the season.
Yeah, they have to realize it's still 7-7. You know, it's not like they gave up a lead. It's not like they reeled them in from the big one. It's still 7-7. This is the type of game you expect to go into the fourth quarter.
They go 4 wide, and Vernon Davis, the speedy, still tight end, out on the top of your screen. Here's Keenum, 4-man rush, gets underneath to Trey Quinn, who makes the catch. He's got 6, so a 3rd and short will come your way.
I know they have not hit the big shot with Terry McLaurin. They've tried it twice, but there's a method to Jay Gruden's madness as a play caller. He's trying to create extra space to run it and to find these receivers underneath. McLaurin's the speed, send him down there. Try and get those Dallas defensive backs to push back a little bit more and try and find some openings underneath and pick up first downs.
Well, McLaurin is matched up with Awuzie this time at the top of your screen. A huge debut last week. No catches today despite a couple of targets. 3rd down. Keenum over the middle into traffic. Man, there were 3 Cowboys there, and Jeff Heath is the one who got his hands on it, and it's incomplete, and they'll have to punt.
You called that one, Kevin, because there were 2 on the coverage, and then Jeff Heath, number 38, made 3. Watch to the left side of your screen when the pass is thrown, and Keenum he's there the entire time based on his headgear. I think that Heath was just reading his eyes and made the break, and if Heath looks for the football, he makes it the interception. He's looking for the receiver, and the ball hits Jeff Heath right in the head. Get your head around and make a play on the ball.
Cedric Wilson back deep to receive for Dallas. Another Tressway punt. He gets his left leg into it. Wilson will let it bounce, and it'll go inside the 20 with 4:32 to go in this first half. 7-7 your score. Cowboys and the Redskins. So Dak Prescott, slow start today. Now he's heated up. Last week, there was nothing slow about it. 405 yards, the most in the Cowboys opener. 400-plus passing yards, 4+ passing touchdowns in a win. Only Cowboy quarterback in history, and only the 2nd Cowboy quarterback in their history with a perfect passer rating. Craig Morton did it back in 1969. I could not believe that Roger or Troy or no one else did it.
But Troy had a 158.2, which in 158.3 is perfect.
Technical.
Don't they have to recalculate that one?
Hey!
I mean, go back over those numbers, folks.
I don't know. I got to see in math, Charles. Don't ask me. Here's a handoff to Elliott. He's got a short gain on 1st down. He's got his 7th carry of the day. Well, you talked about the perfect quarterback rating, right? For whatever that means. Here's what we told you. Prescott and Morton had it. As Charles said, Troy Aikman just a 1/10 of a point behind. Todd Meredith was close. Roger Staubach, highest he got is 155.8. And it's weird. You'd think, well, if you do that, you can't throw an incompletion, right? It's a series of, longer pass plays, touchdowns.
Well, Troy did make the point. If you have an incompletion, did you really have a perfect day?
Dak's going deep again. He's got a man wide open, and he missed him. It was a little bit behind Gallup, who had everybody beat, and Gallup couldn't adjust in time.
They went back to the well and tested Josh Norman again. And look at the gap. Josh Norman has plenty of cushion, and he's rotating over towards the middle of the field. And then he realizes he's got a receiver outside of him. He tries to get back there. And Gallup, if he was actually able to adjust, as you noted, that was a monster play again for Dallas.
So instead, a 3rd down and 8 as Gallup shakes his head. Devin Smith in there again on the near side of your screen, bottom of your screen, and here we go. Prescott with some pressure, casually over the middle, and it is Randall Cobb who lunges forward, and there's a penalty flag as well. He has his 1st down, but let's see what the penalty is first. And it looks like it's going to be on Washington.
I love the arm action of Dak Prescott on that throw.
Holding. Defense number 55. That penalty's declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
We often talk about these quarterbacks with baseball backgrounds being able to drop down. Look at this. Feels the pressure. Thinks there's arms in the way. Just puts it right out there in a perfect spot for Randall Cobb to catch it on the run and turn upfield.
Prescott just made it so easy. Here's Elliott, who runs into a Redskin wall. Just a gain of 1. Another game break. A lot of games going on. Let's check back in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, I don't need to tell you what's been going on with Antonio Brown the last few weeks, but what I can tell you is he's now scored a touchdown with the New England Patriots. 20 yards from Tom Brady. He's got 4 catches, 56 yards as they approach halftime. They did miss the extra point, but they lead the Dolphins 13-0 after Antonio Brown's first score, Kevin.
Here's Prescott, near side. It's Amari Cooper, who has his first catch of the day, and he is going to be close to a 1st down. Looks like the spot across the field is close. See if they give it to him, and he'll be a yard shy.
Isn't it amazing how Antonio Brown got to New England and his feet don't hurt anymore? The helmet fits, and Instagram's really quiet.
Notice that.
I wonder how.
3rd and 1, Cowboys going quick. Prescott gonna keep it all. What a zone read. Look at Dak Prescott with room to roll. Prescott still going down to the 20. That was textbook from Dak Prescott on the zone read, and he ran it for 42.
Kevin, you called that so perfectly, because he's going to read it here on the mesh point and see where he dove there, and now he's gone. But downfield, good block there, but watch Dak look out to his left. He's hoping that his receiver Gallup can get in front of the corner, because he knows he can't run away from Norman. So come on, Gallup. Come on, 13. Help me out. And a good play by Norman getting ahead of Gallup and hauling him down.
2-minute warning. It's a career-long 42-yard run, and the Cowboys in business. 2-minute warning, and it's hard to tell we're in Landover, Maryland, because this crowd has been 50-50 all day long, and you see there's plenty of Cowboy jerseys in the stands. I think she's lost. She got lost off of 95 on the drive down south. So 2 minutes to go, Charles. 7-7 after the 42-yard run by Prescott, and here's Elliott looking to do the same. And he's inside the 15-yard line. Is Ezekiel Elliott going to pick up 9?
I think this Cowboys offensive line is starting to go to work, Kevin, because just look at what they're doing here. Look at all this. Everyone's matching up well. Witten came across formation 82, and there was no one to block initially, and then he turned upfield and was able to get a body on a Washington defender.
Give Elliott 8, so it'll be 2nd and 2 up the middle patiently, and then he runs into Jonathan Bostic, but not before he picks up a Cowboy 1st down. Timeout situation. Washington with 2 left. Cowboys have all 3. As time ticking down 1:12, and that indeed will be a 1st down.
And Kevin, in this spot, Kellen Moore, the young offense coordinator for Dallas, that play sheet is wide open. He can run it, he can throw it, he can do whatever he wants right now because of his offensive line's ability to take control of the line of scrimmage lately.
Cowboys go 2 tight ends. Prescott on the roll, looking, firing high, and I think that was intentional. It's incomplete, and we get a penalty back by the quarterback. Montez Sweat was chasing Dak Prescott. I didn't see if he got him at the end. He did.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 90. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
The rookie out of Michigan State, number 90 in the white jersey, in hot pursuit of Dak Prescott. Ball's gone. You don't need to put your hands on him at that point. Mississippi State. A Michigan State transfer. So make sure I get the right school, because I hear those Bulldogs now want a piece of me. Thank you, Kevin.
So that'll put it now at 1st and goal. Put it down to the 5 with 44 seconds to go.
5-5.
Prescott pitches, Elliott, and he's going to come up short on the cutback. Jimmy Moreland from the secondary with a nice tackle.
So when people tell you the college game is not bleeding into the NFL game, you tell them they're wrong, because it is. We've seen the zone read big for Dak Prescott. Quarterback run game from him today. And how about that, going with the option? That was pure option football right there. Almost felt like I hadn't seen that since Steve Grogan optioned into Andy Johnson with the Patriots back in the day. But Chuck Fairbanks is the head coach.
I love it. Yeah, and we talked about some differences here with the Cowboys offense, and look, there's a couple things. First of all, out of this 11 personnel, which essentially means 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. A lot of teams in the league do it now, but the Cowboys did it a lot more last week than they did last year, and it certainly looks like today they're doing it a ton. Just, I don't have it in front of me. Well, here it is. That's why we have a great graphics department. Here's what they've done. 19 of the 26 total plays in 11 personnel. It's spreading out the field, as you said earlier.
Spread out the field, give you more options and more room to rumble. Remember, the Rams went to the Super Bowl last year. They ran 11 personnel 91% of the time last season.
2nd and goal. Prescott keeps it. Pressure in his face. Throws. Has a completion to Witten, and he is hit immediately by Holcomb. And the Cowboys now will take a timeout with 20 seconds to go in the half. It'll bring up a 3rd and goal. And while we have a moment, why don't we check in with Kurt Menefee again?
Man, what a Visa halftime we've got for you today. We'll have highlights of that big Patriots-Dolphins game, plus the Bills and Giants, and an exclusive interview with Rams head coach Sean McVay as they get ready for that huge rematch with the New Orleans Saints in America's Game of the Week. It's all coming your way when we come back with the Visa halftime.
You know, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? That game coming up, because, you know, you see everything that's happening at halftime there. But that game coming up, so many people talk about the Saints getting revenge. What about the Rams saying so many people talking about how we didn't win the game? You know, they've got motivation as well.
3rd and goal. They send Elliott now as a wide receiver, top of your screen. 20 seconds to go in the half. It's Prescott. Standing in, pressure coming, senses. Directing traffic, throws, incomplete, should have been intercepted. And we get a penalty in the end zone on the far side of the field, so hang on.
This is going to go against Washington as well.
13 seconds ago in the half.
Before the pass was thrown. Holding. Defense number 32. The penalty is half the distance to the goal and an automatic 1st down.
Sometimes the Washington team just can't stand prosperity, so they're in a bunch of stack formation. And Gallup tries to get off the line of scrimmage, and Moreland, the rookie out of James Madison, all off, yanks on him. Remember, you've got 5 yards where you can play him and bump him, but you can't grab him initially out of the 5 yards. You have to play him with your hands and not grab him and tackle him.
It's his 1st and goal, Charles. Yeah, no doubt. But 13 seconds ago, they do have 1 timeout left. Prescott going to throw it again, coming near side. He's got a touchdown. It's Jason Witten. And the Cowboys take advantage of another Redskin penalty to take their 1st lead today.
Kevin, you just talked about how you spreading things out can help an offense. Well, how about them spreading it out there and allowing Dak Prescott to identify the matchup he liked and get to it. And this time he goes to the grand old man himself, Jason Witten, for his 2nd touchdown catch of the year.
How about the last 2 drives for the Cowboys? 97 yards and 83 yards, and Maher's extra point is a lot cleaner than the last one, right down the middle. So Jason Witten at 37 years old has touchdowns in back-to-back weeks.
So watch. So see, where's the matchup that you want? Well, that's a linebacker now. And look at him, just run away from him. Gets a little help from the receiver running inside and creates a natural pick on the play. I believe that's Blake Jarwin. Outside, number 89, the other tight end. Just a natural screen and gave him enough room against Holcomb, the rookie out of North Carolina. And Witten carries it into the end zone.
Well, when you talk about Jason Witten, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, right? 15 years for the Cowboys until 2017 was over. And then he joined Monday Night Football. Just 1 year there, and he had the itch, Charles. He missed it, so he came back and signed a one-year contract and had a touchdown last week, has a touchdown this week. And as Travis Frederick told us, you know, it's really what he brings to the locker room at this point. He's such a great man and so well respected. So you add that. He certainly had a couple touchdowns. That's nice too, no?
No doubt about it. I asked, remember we asked Dak Prescott about Blake Jarwin and his development as a tight end. He said, well, he's following around Witten like a little duck. You know, everything Witten does, that's a smart play to make. Teaches you how to be a pro, teaches you how to be an excellent player.
Ball is bobbled there by Steven Sims Jr. looking to make a play with 9 seconds left in the half, and why not? Comes up short of the 20. And you would think Washington will just take a knee here with only 5 seconds to go in the half. So once again, the Redskins jump out to an early lead, but a couple long touchdown drives by the Cowboys. Big plays too. 51-yard touchdown pass to Devin Smith from Dak Prescott, and then Prescott finding Witten. But remember, it was Dak's 42-yard run which set up that drive. And the Cowboys with a 14-7 lead.
I'm going to laugh all the way home thinking about Dak on that zone read. Not at the expense of Washington, but just when he got an open field, understanding I'm not going to outrun Josh Norman. So Michael Gallup, help me, help us. I mean, he kept trying, get that block for me, please.
Cowboys 14-7 of the Redskins at the half, of the halftime show from Los Angeles comes your way right now with Kurt Menefee and the guys. Kurt, take it away. That was today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive. About to start the third quarter here from Landover, Maryland, where the Cowboys lead the Redskins 14-7. It's a warm day in the area. Good to see you. Charles Davis, my partner, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt. And so, well, not all like last week, but similar in certain ways. Washington got off to a really nice start. They're up 7-0, and all of a sudden, it's the Cowboys got the lead at the break.
And I said something before the end of the first half that at times this Washington team can't stand prosperity, meaning things are going well for them. But what I mean by that is they create penalties in times that really put them behind the 8 ball. They make a nice play on defense. There's a holding penalty against Washington. Dallas gets more opportunities. They convert and score a touchdown. You know, the pass, roughing the passer out in open field by Montez Sweat from Mississippi State, right? Not Michigan State.
Both.
My partner took care of me on that one. Those types of plays have to go away for Washington to get this done. And they're going to start on defense to start the second half, which is the strength of this team.
Yeah, and then I think you look at Dak Prescott making the big plays. The 51-yard touchdown pass to Devin Smith. The 42-yard run for Dak Prescott, which was the longest of his career. And while we have a moment, why don't we go down to the sideline to Miss Oliver, as she likes to be called.
Thank you, Mr. Burkhardt. I talked to Jay Gruden at halftime, asking him what will you emphasize coming out. He said, first of all, we got to build some momentum. They get the ball coming out. We must get a stop to build some momentum. Those penalties, oh my God. He said we cannot have those in this point of the game. Now, for Jason Garrett, he said he really liked the mix of run and pass that Devin Smith touchdown really got their momentum going. We got the ball in the first half. Second half, let's get after their butts.
We'll see if they can do it, Pam. I like it. Cowboys start with the ball, as Charles told you. They'll begin in an I formation, and here's Prescott bouncing back and firing complete. And it's Amari Cooper who spins his way to a 9-yard gain. It's Jimmy Moreland, the rookie, on the tackle. And look, big plays we saw against his secondary. We saw it against Josh Norman, involved, you know, a couple with him, but they're already so banged up. Moreland, the rookie, playing today. Dunbar, Moreau out. We've seen Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie kind of limp it around. He went out of the game early in the game, so see how that secondary holds up.
I would still continue to find ways to test Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie if I'm Dallas.
They'll run it on 2nd and 1. Big hole, and it's Elliott who lumbers his way out to the 46-yard line. And Ezekiel Elliott has a 13-yard run. Very quietly, he's got 61 yards rushing.
Look at these guys up front. Look at the space created. A nice block there by Connor Williams when Holcomb tried to fill the hole, and that allowed Ezekiel Elliott. Here's the block right there. Boom. But it allowed Ezekiel Elliott to cut back against it. Tyron Smith, number 77, with an additional block behind the play.
Elliott will get it again, and look at the surge up the middle of that offensive line into Redskins territory for a pickup of 5. Now that offensive line, if not the best, is certainly one of the best in the NFL. They're all healthy. We told you earlier with Travis Frederick back in action. This gave La'el Collins a big contract out at right tackle. They are good. And a 2nd down. It's Prescott on the fake, rolling and firing over the middle and holding on despite the big hit. There's Michael Gallup. And you could see the developing chemistry last week and today, even though they've had a couple of misconnections with Prescott and the 2nd-year wideout.
Watch him. He's going to come all the way across field. And this play has been shown earlier where Prescott gets out into the flat, and usually he delivers it to Witten on the short zone. But now he goes to the 2nd level, and Gallup coming all the way across field on an over route is the beneficiary.
Elliott patiently working his way down to the 30. We get a penalty flag. And again, Elliott had the holdout. This is only his 2nd full week of practice.
Play 1st down.
And Sean Hockley says it's on Connor Williams, the left guard. But Charles, you know, you think about what this guy has done. Got the $90 million deal, and he deserved it. I mean, look at what he did. Led the league 2 of his first 3 years in the league. 1,600 yards in 2016. The monster year again last year. Only players with 3+ rushing titles prior to 25 years old. Jim Brown did it. Emmitt Smith did it, and Ezekiel Elliott can do it. He's only 24 years old. That is unbelievable.
And we thought he would get more snaps in this ball game. Already at 32 after 37 last week. If this keeps up, everyone's going to move their training camp to Cabo.
Although you see Tony Pollard in to give him a little bit of a rest now out of the backfield. Instead, they're going to throw it down the field. Aggressive. It's Cooper again, down to the 30. And it was Gallup, actually, not Cooper. 13, not 19. So Gallup catches another one.
Well, the big play by Devin Smith, a near miss by Michael Gallup in the first half. That's really got these corners backed off, doesn't it? Josh Norman plays with a lot of confidence, but that cushion there, that didn't suggest it at all.
On the run, they'll get it to Pollard, and he runs right into Ryan Anderson. And we'll see it be a 3rd down and short.
I mean, we're used to seeing Josh Norman up challenging people and daring them to do things. I'm seeing the biggest cushions out of these corners. With Rodgers-Cromartie, I understand it because of the ankle injury. But take a look at this. Look at this cushion. Look at all that. I mean, that's a ton of space you've got, and that's not normal what I see from Josh Norman, usually up there challenging receivers.
Pollard in the game at tailback on a 3rd down. It's blocked up well. Prescott guns it. It's caught for a 1st down right over the middle, and what a strike. That time it was Amari Cooper as the Coop chants come down here in Maryland.
How did you describe that again about the blocking? Blocked up well.
Yeah.
Boy, was it ever by the offensive line. But watch Devin Smith, 15. He clears the space there, and his job right there was to make sure he held the coverage to allow Cooper to come inside and behind him. So sometimes the guy who gets the ball, he's getting it because his teammate gave of himself. That's the reason I drew there. Because did you see what Devin Smith did? Just sat down in that gap, and all of a sudden he's got 2 defenders with him. And now Cooper comes behind him with clear space and becomes the open man.
It's amazing. Devin Smith was, you know, you look down, he's the 5th wideout on this team. Tavon Austin inactive today. Yeah, has concussion symptoms, so he's not playing. We thought we'd see Cedric Milson more, but Smith, again, we told you hadn't had a catch since 2016, has been a factor here today with a 51-yard score. Here's Prescott on second down. And over the middle, it's caught for a touchdown, and it's Cooper for 6. That was too easy. 20 unanswered for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, Pam Oliver told us that Washington head coach Jay Gruden told her at the half, we've got to get a stop to start this half. But with this protection that the Dallas offensive line is giving Dak Prescott, he's throwing essentially out of the rocking chair, as they like to say. And DeShazer Everett is playing a lot more on defense than he normally does. A college corner, converted to safety in the NFL. He's trying to slide between the two today with the injuries, and he was no match on that one for Amari Cooper.
Extra point is up and good. Another long drive for the Cowboys, Charles. Their 3 touchdown drives have been 97, 83, and that one 9 plays for 75 yards. And right now they're doing what they want with this Washington defense. It's Amari Cooper on the touchdown. It is 21-7. Well, really, this is since the interception, Nicholson, right? The Cowboys offense got off to a slow start. How's that since? Prescott has been unbelievable. 13 of 15, 155 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
You know why I circled that? Is that a 158.3 rating? You know, our spotter, Mitch Smith, mentioned that in our break.
It could be.
Can someone calculate that, please, and see if it's a 158.3? So you sure look close to it.
You're saying Dak is perfect again.
I mean, my goodness.
Charles, want to remind you to start Saturday strong with a big noon Saturday game of the week. Shea Patterson at number 10 Michigan taking on Jonathan Taylor number 14 Wisconsin. That's a heck of a game. It all starts with the big noon kickoff pregame show at 11 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Boy, that's a great game. Gus, Joel, and Jenny are going to have a big time in Madtown because Jonathan Taylor's going to run the heck out of it. And we're going to see if Michigan can match up with that. This is going to be a really good ball game.
Michigan hasn't exactly looked great to start the season.
As long as it's not triple option, they'll be happy. Army almost got them with that.
Yeah, you're right. Here are the Redskins and Peterson, who has nowhere to go against this Dallas defense. Leighton Vander Esch will make the stop. And Charles, you know, the Washington tried to get the rookie Terry McLaurin going in the first half.
And take a look, and look what happens here. Nowhere to go because you've got a defender there, and watch Vander Esch fill the hole. So the defender sets the edge against the block there by Moses, number 76, and because of that, Peterson's got to cut it inside, and there's Vander Esch. When you hear teams talk about run fits, that is a perfect run fit. Fit in the spot you're supposed to be and not allow any creases.
And the block you talked about was on Jalen Smith, who already got 8 tackles in this game. Here, Keenum runs away from pressure, throws on the run. He's got a completion. Out near a first down, but Vernon Davis kind of went backwards there, so he's going to be, I believe, a half-yard shy.
He wasn't able to get upfield after the catch. You called it, Kevin. He had to come vertically straight down the line and not able to turn up to get that little bit of additional yardage to get the first down.
Right now, the Redskins would just love to keep the drive going. They're being outgained today, 292 to 100. And Keenum on the sneak will have it, but hold on, this play.
Are they set?
There's a flag, and they're going to sort this out. The initial signal is on Dallas.
Encroachment, defense, nose tackle. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Case just had to run into the teeth there with that sneak. He's like, can't you call that before I have to put my nose in there? Can I get the 5 yards without having to dive forward first with all that beef? Quarterbacks always tell you, hey, we don't need to run that if you're going to call it.
Too late.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Case Keenum, first time this Texas kid ever facing the Dallas Cowboys.
Used to play playoff high school games in Irving back in the day. Here's Keenum. Pressure, steps up, fires. There's the rookie McLaurin who makes a catch in traffic. Down to the 35. So they try to get him involved early, and they hook up there for 27.
And for the second straight week, we've seen him make a really tough contested catch. And that's part of his game that everyone's going to learn that he possesses and really takes pride in, not just being a flyer downfield. He works awfully hard on what he calls the 50-50 balls, working against tight coverage. And Byron Jones had really good coverage, but McLaurin takes it away and turns it into a big first down. I'm really impressed with this youngster here in the early going.
His 24th birthday today. Happy birthday, Terry. Had a 125-yard game last week. He's their #1 receiver. Here's Keenum on the zone read, pressure, and that was dangerous. Tried to get it to Chris Thompson, and it's probably better off that it was incomplete. Anthony Brown was there. But you talked about this a little on the air last week. We had the Redskins against the Eagles. McLaurin is an unbelievable story going to Ohio State. I talked to Urban Meyer, of course, who's on our big noon kickoff show, and he said, he came into camp and he thought he was going to get the scholarship offer. Brought him into the office and he thought he was going to get the offer, and I told him, no, you got to go work. I like it, but you got to go work now. And Terry gave a great story. He said, going in, people said that Coach Urban Meyer is either thumbs up a thumbs down. He said he never right in the middle. Thumbs in the middle. So what did he give him?
Right in the middle.
Thumbs in the middle. But how hard after that? 2 weeks later, he got that scholarship to Ohio State. Here's Keenum, pressure. He's in trouble. Somehow got rid of it as Lawrence was all over him, and it's incomplete.
DeMarcus Lawrence will rush from both sides of the line, right? I mean, check out Lawrence coming off the top here. And he will come from the right side, he'll come from the left side. And he has what all those great defensive ends have, and you're looking for a bend. Watch him dip down underneath where Morgan Moses can bend down and block him. And then he comes like a slalom skier, almost on that one ski inside, and puts the pressure on Keenum.
Like that slalom. That's nice.
Where's Jean-Claude Keely when you need him?
3rd down and 10. Play clock winding down for the Redskins. Blitz is coming. Keenum sees it. Screen to Sims Jr. Breaks a tackle. Tries to get to the edge, and he can't do it. Well played. It was Jordan Lewis. Otherwise, that probably is a first down. And now, what do? Do you kick the field goal or do you go on 4th down? Looks like they're going to go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I see Trey Quinn coming in. But watch outside in the open field. So right there, Brown holds things up. And then a nice open field tackle by Jordan Lewis. One of the toughest things to do as a defender. On a shifty runner like Sims, in the open field, one-on-one, puts him on the deck.
Miami, 5-4.
4th down and 7 for Washington. Down 2 touchdowns. Pressure up the middle. Keenum gets rid of it. He's got a first down. In the face of pressure, he delivered. It's Quinn. And he'll move the chains for Washington.
And by utilizing all of those receivers, it took Dallas out of a blitz situation and allowed this offensive line to just block the pass rushers. And they did it well. And look at Keenum surveying, finds his target, and delivers a strike to Trey Quinn out of SMU.
3rd catch of the day for Quinn for 29 yards.
80.
Chris Thompson is the back.
Hey, I got 300 jet. Hey, 300 jet. Hey, Store, 5-4. Store, 5-4. Rhino, son.
Play clock at 1. Keenum looking for McLaurin. He's got him. Makes the catch. McLaurin with a stiff arm and works his way down near the 10. And I believe he's going to be a little shy of the first down. Let's see on the spot.
I think the speed of McLaurin, watch him, because you're used to him jetting downfield. So Jones thinks, and he does a really good job with his hands being physical. That's Jones out of the way, being a physical offensive receiver, and knocks him out of the way to create that extra space. That's a veteran move by the rookie receiver.
Going to give it inside on the carry, and that'll be a first down. On 2nd and short, they run it to Thompson. Scary Terry. That's what Case Keenum calls him. Who is he? Well, we told you the story about Ohio State with Urban Meyer. And Urban told me this week, Charles said he's one of my favorite guys I've ever had, one of the best leaders I've ever had.
Well, he was a 2-time captain. And he graduated in 3.5 years. Could have come out early. Decided to stay in school because he knew he had unfinished business in terms of playing. So that was part of the reason he was a 2-time captain. Because people just gravitate to this young man, and he's mature beyond his years.
1st and goal. Keenum going to Thompson in the flat, and that is absolutely destroyed by Jeff Heath. And Thompson remains in the game. McLaurin back into it too. He's matched up against Byron Jones.
Let's go, Iowa.
On the bottom of your screen. Second and goal. Keenum looking that way, goes over the middle instead, where it's caught by Richardson, diving forward, touchdown.
There's Richardson, number 10, working inside. Vernon Davis clears space for him and right in the middle. And then he finds a way to get vertical and get upfield and dive into the end zone and get Washington right back into this game. Nice effort at the end of the play by Richardson to find a little bit of space. And he knew where the end zone was, knew where the yard line was, stayed off the ground until he got into pay dirt.
So the Redskins go for it on fourth down. They deliver. Keenum hitting Trey Quinn that kept the drive alive. And then Paul Richardson has the catch and his first touchdown of the year. The former Seattle Seahawk who came over on the big contract, had an injury-marred 2014, and all of a sudden got a game again. Boy, did they need that too.
Not only did they need that, the drive also allowed their defense to get a little bit of oxygen on the sideline. That can only help them when they trot back out there to deal with Dallas.
Here is Hopkins. Extra point is perfect. And so the Redskins strike back. They've been quiet offensively for a while, but a nice drive engineered by that man, Case Keenum. They deliver on fourth. They put it in the end zone. They're down by 7. Well, we got ourselves a game. That was a good drive by Case Keenum and the Redskins, and he hooks up with Paul Richardson Jr. on the 9-yard touchdown reception. Don't forget, they go for it on 4th and 7, and it turned out to be a great call on the connection to Trey Quinn, and they convert that to a touchdown. And now the Cowboys up by 7. Their football at their own 25. It is the 100th year of the NFL, and so it seems like a good time maybe to relive a little nostalgia with the Cowboys and the Redskins. Let's hear from our very own Dick Stockton.
In their nearly 60-year rivalry, the Washington Redskins and Dallas Cowboys battle it out with Sonny Jurgensen and Don Meredith, through the 70s with Billy Kilmer and Roger Staubach, and into the 80s with Joe Theismann and Troy Aikman. They won 8 Super Bowls between them.
Dick, thanks very much. Here we got a 7-point game. Prescott has some pressure. Throws over the middle, and he's got a completion to Blake Jarwin, the tight end, who loves playing against the Giants, but now he shows up against the Redskins too, and a first down for Dallas with a pickup of 27.
Well, he's exactly what you're looking for in today's NFL as a tight end, because look to the top of your screen. He's a former wide receiver who's now turned into a tight end. Very tough matchup for any linebacker to try and stay with him man for man in the open field.
Here's Pollard, gets the carry, gets to the edge, makes a cut, and a good run by Tony Pollard for the first down. He had an unbelievable preseason, the rookie 4th-round pick out of Memphis.
They love his ability to run it. They love his ability to catch it. He's one of 4 players in college football history that averaged 6 yards a carry and 12 yards of reception for their careers. How about some names? Tavon Austin would be one. Damaris Johnson out of Tulsa would be another one. And a third would be one Percy Harvin out of Florida. It's pretty good company.
It really is. Here he is again up the middle. He also had 7 kickoff returns for touchdowns in his career. That ties a record. So did electric things in college. A lot of games happening right now. Let's get a game break on one of them with Carissa Thompson.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Seahawks Steelers. Russell Wilson connects with tight end Will Disley for the second time today. Wilson's 200th career touchdown. Also Ben Roethlisberger out of this game with an apparent elbow injury. Mason Rudolph is in. Hawks up 14-10. Kevin?
Oh, that's concerning. Carissa, thanks. Seattle in front there. Dallas in front here by 7. Under 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. They're going to run it to Randall Cobb. And Cobb gets inside the 35.
So we saw Washington with the jet sweeps earlier. Here he comes. And they hand it to him. Then you have the ghost motion into the ghost handoff in the back to Pollard. Look at the blocking out on the corner. Witten looking for a block, but a really nice job by Amari Cooper, number 19. Yeah, he's going to get 1,000 yards in receptions. But look at him blocking on the perimeter and helping out their run game.
Hey, you got Mike.
Ezekiel Elliott's been out this entire drive. Looks like they're just giving him a rest. Remember, still a little bit on that snap count. On second down, Prescott to throw, slant across the middle. He's got a hookup and a connection to Gallup again, who's down near the 20. So Michael Gallup now has 5 catches, going to put him over 50 yards.
I love Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie's toughness, number 45 in white. But his ability to stay with people out in the open field with an obvious leg injury. If I'm Dallas, if I need something, I'm going to test him every single time. Because he's either going to give you too much cushion or you might have the chance to go by him.
Gallup now 5 of 60 on first down. They'll come back to the near side of Cobb. Gets through a tackle. Cobb spinning his way and working his way inside the 15 now.
And I love the rookie Jimmy Moreland out of James Madison, but this is a play that he's got to make here in the NFL because it changes the whole complexion of everything if he makes this tackle in the open field. See where Cobb is? He's past him now, and he's making that spin move and gaining the additional yardage. He had a chance to put him down near the line of scrimmage and change the play call.
Second and 2. Pollard again. Up the middle. Big hole. Tony Pollard. It's a first and goal.
Well, Zach Martin is not a perennial all-pro for no reason. Take a look at him, the offensive guard. Look at him working on Ioannidis, and he just stays with him. And all of offensive line coaches talk about the initial block, Kevin, but they also talk about the strain after that. Once you block him, will you strain and stay with him? That's exactly what Zach Martin did with Matt Ioannidis.
Yeah, Charles, you have to say that the last 2 drives have been cake for Dallas. I mean, there is no resistance right now from Washington.
And with Washington, what we've seen on the last 2 drives, you haven't seen pressure either.
No.
You know, you haven't seen a change-up to try and get after him a little bit. Dallas continuing to progress down the field.
And the whole drive without Ezekiel Elliott. First and goal from the 3. They'll give it to Tony Pollard. Pollard gets in. Touchdown, his first in the NFL, but hold on, it might be coming back. The signal's a hold. And it is going to come back.
Holding. Offense, number 19. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
So we saw Amari Cooper with a tremendous block a few plays ago. Here he is now, number 19 in blue. And right there, look at him with the full hook on Landon Collins and a takedown. So amateur wrestling or WWE, that's a takedown. Amateur wrestling, you get 2 points. On the WWE, you get the crowd out of their feet, wanting to see if you're going for a pinfall.
Might as well earn your money if you're going to do it, right?
If you're going to do it, anything worth doing right.
And they backed him up after the penalty, puts it at the 13-yard line. 34 seconds ago in the 3rd quarter. There's a 4-man rush again. Prescott's got all day. Going far side, he's got a completion of Pollard and gets down to the 10. He's wrestled down by Sean Dion Hamilton, and that may be the end of the 3rd.
They're going up there quickly. Want to see if Dallas wants to continue to put pressure on them. They're going to hold Washington's defensive players out there. Can't make a change when they go this quickly at the line of scrimmage.
10 seconds left in the quarter.
What is it?
Apparently they didn't know what it is.
I think they were trying to get them to jump, and it may have been Dallas who jumped themselves.
False start. Offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
So not sure if they were trying to draw the Redskins offside or just some miscommunication. You heard someone say, what is it? And it is a penalty. Also, it's the end of the 3rd quarter, but the Cowboys with a lead, trying to add on. It's 21-14 as we head to the 4th. Well, this is called mixing it up, spreading it around. Dak Prescott's done a great job moving it around. Gallup again has been a favorite target. Caught 7 balls last week for 158 yards, 5 for 60 here today. We start the 4th quarter. Cowboys up 7, looking for more, and nicely played on the outside. Cobb made the catch, and we get a penalty flag at the end of the play as well.
Beautiful play by Sean Dion Hamilton, the linebacker, in the open field.
And so now it's the Cowboys with a couple penalties. They have one to end the 3rd quarter.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 71. This penalty is declined. Third down.
So they will decline it and keep it at 3rd and goal from the 15. Interesting choice.
I think what they're saying is even with a 10-yard penalty, the field goal seems pretty likely. They don't want to give Dak any extra plays to try and break a bigger one.
Well, we'll see if that was a good decision on 3rd and goal. Prescott. Time over the middle. It's caught by Gallup again. He's got a long way to go. Breaks a tackle on another, but he's going to come up shy. Get down to the 6. And now a 4th and goal, and with a 7-point lead, here comes the field goal team. So the Washington defense at least does their job and holds here.
That's what they were counting on, being able to hold on 3rd down there and not go give him an extra down to try and make things happen. There's Witten on the outside. It looks like he's open with Rogers Camardi looking back at the quarterback, but there was a little pressure in Dak's face. Remember, he had to drop sidearm to deliver that one, so he needed to get rid of it.
So this will be a 25-yard field goal from Brett Maher. Snap and hold are good. The kick is up and good, but there is a penalty flag. And let's see on the penalty here. Redskins may have been offsides.
Right there, there's the jump. Getting there initially off the edge. That's Jimmy Moreland, the rookie out of James Madison.
And so, talking to Jason Garrett, would you take points off a board when you're up by 10?
I would not here in this situation because
Offside. Defense. That penalty's declined. The field goal is good.
it doesn't get you. If it gets you inside the 1 and you're going for it on 4th down, I'd consider it, but it would not have.
What it is a 10-point lead for Dallas. Back here in Landover, Maryland on a hot Sunday, week 2 of the NFL. Cowboys 24, Redskins 14. Glad to have you back with us. Our NFL on Fox crew, producer Pete Majeska, director Artie Kepner, Pam Oliver, Charles Davis, Kevin Burkhardt. And a 10-point game. The Cowboys have scored in their last 4 possessions. In honor of the 100th season, the NFL is encouraging fans to join players, teams, and the NFL family in a year-long volunteer initiative called Huddle for 100. Choose a cause, volunteer 100 minutes of your time, help shape what your community will look like for the next 100 years. Together we can reach 100 minutes, 100 million minutes. Visit NFL.com/huddle for 100 to track your minutes and get rewarded. Redskins did a great job. Daniel Snyder sent his plane. Adonis Alexander, the practice squad player, going down to the Bahamas with supplies. Cowboys doing their part in the community. Well done, fellas. And so 13:51 to go. Redskins need points. Down by 10, but plenty of time. And they'll give it to Adrian Peterson, who's been pretty quiet since the 2nd quarter. It's just his 10th carry of the day.
Like how you noted that there's plenty of time. They don't have to throw it on every down at this point. I know they're down 10, but with this kind of time on the clock, you can still run a lot of your offense.
Redskins only have, Charles, 163 yards of offense, and they're coming off a week where, you know, they lost, but they had 398 yards in the loss to the Eagles.
Remember, a big part of that, get that big shot to Terry McLaurin, 69-yarder. That gives you a big chunk right there.
On 2nd and 8, Keenum over the middle. There's a catch to McLaurin, the rookie again, and he's starting to heat up in this 2nd half. He's got a Washington 1st down out to the 47. It's a pickup of 20.
I'm reminded as he goes through this route of a quote he gave us when we chatted with him. He said that I try to give excellent body language at all times to my quarterback so that he understands that when I'm into my route, I'm available. So how about that route he just ran there? Great body language, and the ball was put right on him by Keenum.
He turned so many heads that Jay Gruden at one point in the preseason took him off special teams. I mean, every rookie plays special teams.
And that's a big reason he was drafted, a tremendous special teams player at Ohio State.
Thompson has a catch in the Cowboys territory.
He had to tell the special teams coach, Nate Kaiser, he's off special teams. And he's like, Nate's like, but we drafted him for that. And he's like, he's a #1 receiver. We're done with that. I mean, that's how well he has played, and it started at OTAs and minicamp.
Well, when you meet him, hard not to be impressed. He is smart, well put together, Mr. Football in Indianapolis in high school.
Jalen Smith's an Indianapolis native. Number 54 for Dallas.
Yes, he is. Second down and 5. That's Richardson in motion. They're going to give a handoff to Thompson, who fights his way before he runs into the other Indianapolis man, Jalen Smith, who's had a heck of a game on defense. Jalen Smith got himself a 5-year, $64 million extension in August. And over all the odds he's overcome. 10 tackles for him here today, and he and Leighton Vander Esch are just outstanding as a linebacker combo. And oh yeah, by the way, they got Sean Lee still there too.
Just think, if Sean Lee goes off the field in certain situations, you never would have thought that in his career. That's how good Vander Esch and Jalen Smith have become.
Play clock winding down. It's at 2. It's at 1 on a 3rd down. Keenum sees pressure, gets rid of it, and it's dropped. Oh man, that initially had pick 6, then just intercepted, and then it was dropped as Xavier Woods just couldn't hang on.
Does that not go back to Chris Richards telling us that he thought Xavier Woods was going to make a big jump this year in his play? And not only would he make a big jump, all he has to do now is trust his eyes and make the play. And he did everything right there except catch the football, because he did trust his eyes. He saw the route, he made the play on the football, and just couldn't haul it in.
What it does do is it gives Washington one more shot. They'll go for it on 4th down. Remember, they converted a 4th and 7 on the last drive, and they scored a touchdown. They need it again. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. Did they get it off? They did not, unless they called the timeout, and they did. And so the Redskins call their first timeout. They had to. They need this play. 4th down, down by 10. Washington football when we come back. Well, there were some communication errors. As a matter of fact, Jay Gruden said there was a huge issue overall. They had bad communication. This time I think it's just literally Keenum couldn't hear the play.
So that's when you've got a big, obviously there's always a backup, which is hand signals that you have to go through and go through your mechanics every week to keep them fresh.
Here it is, 4th and 3. Redskins down by 10, 11 minutes to play.
Remember last time they spread the field and created isolations for their receivers.
4-man rush. Keenum near side, incomplete. He was looking for Thompson, but the pass was not close, and they'll turn it over on downs to the Cowboys. Redskins miss an opportunity. Dallas in control. Back here in Landover, Maryland. And the Cowboys football, they're up by 10. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm this afternoon. And now time is of the essence. Ezekiel Elliott sat out the entire last drive. Give him a little rest. He's back in there now in great field position after the Cowboys hold. It's Elliott on a short gain. Last 4 possessions, the Cowboys have, well, they've gotten points. And quite frankly, Charles, they're moving the ball at will.
And they're really not happy about the field goal on the last one, because they took themselves out of that opportunity with multiple penalties once they got into scoring range.
Prescott on fake coming near side. It's Smith who's got the catch 1 yard shy of a first down. It'll be a 3rd and 1. We've got another game break. Let's say hi to Carissa Thompson.
Thank you, Kevin. Vikings down 21-10. Kirk Cousins connects with Stephon Diggs. 45-yard touchdown here. Diggs now has a touchdown in 6 straight games against Green Bay. They would miss the extra point. The Packers still leading this one 21-16. Kevin?
You know, Chris, it's a good thing the Vikings don't have any kicking problems. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Mike Zimmer has got to be like, wasn't this the same game last year that we got rid of the rookie kicker?
They cut their kicker. He missed 3 field goals. Here's Elliott, a little dance, and he's got a first down. Just so patient to make that last cut and surge forward for a first down.
Patient and then sudden. All right, so you'll see the patience when he's making the run. This is what you described, Kevin, right? But now watch. Now go. See that? All that patience, and then he uncoils. Zoom. And picks up the extra yardage.
Special. 16 carries, 74 yards for Zeke. And they're going to run it some more. And Elliott runs into Montez Sweat. So, the Cowboys spent their offseason locking up all their big pieces, Charles. They signed, DeMarcus Lawrence, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith, Lael Collins. I go down the list. They gave out a lot of money. There's one guy, maybe two more. Cooper, not yet. But Dak Prescott, he's about to get paid. The question is when. And deservedly so for the way he has played, especially in the last 10 games of the regular season. Jerry Jones has used the word imminent. Don't know what that means. It could be a longer span of time. Prescott's had another big day today. 24 of 28. He'll throw it again for a 29th time, and he'll connect. It's all reliable. Jason Witten for a first down. Down to the 25.
He is so in control out there. Did you see him orchestrate that play? And then watch how comfortable he is in the pocket. That supreme confidence that his offensive line is going to give him the amount of time that they gave him, which was enough and then some. No one even close. Throwing lane wide open allows him to step right into it and put the ball right between the 8 and the 2 on Jason Witten's jersey.
And so a first down, and more importantly for the Cowboys, milking the clock a little bit here as they will run it to Cobb. Randall Cobb gets to the edge, and he does go out of bounds about the 21-yard line. So we talked about that contract. Pam Oliver, how's Dak feeling about this whole contract negotiation thing?
Well, I asked him about that, and he said when all is said and done, he does not necessarily expect to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. An answer that may cause his agent to choke on his cell phone without hesitation. Prescott said, I've never played for money. It's not what makes me happy. He went on to say he doesn't think he can ask for those kinds of riches if he hasn't won a Super Bowl. He said his goal is to be the best player ever. And, of course, he wants to attain that status as a Dallas Cowboy.
Pam, I love the answer. And I think his agent probably feels differently. As Prescott will sling it underneath, and another play to Smith, who's had a big roll today. And I'll tell you, Tavon Austin has been out with the concussion symptoms. And Devin Smith, who hadn't had a catch since 2016, has now 3 catches. He's got a 51-yard touchdown, and he's played a major role.
He certainly has, and he's really starting to coordinate with this quarterback. Miss Oliver, your impressions of that answer that Dak gave you, because as you said, the agent will choke on the cell phone, but he seems genuine, doesn't he?
He's totally sincere. It's not his thing. He wants to be a great player. That's first and foremost. If that Jared Goff money comes around, I'm sure he'll take it, but it's not something of status for him.
First and goal, they'll run it to Elliott, who gets bumped at the 5 and runs inside there. Yeah, I don't know how you could be more open, and we've been around Dak a lot. We spent a lot of time with him. That's who he is. He's impossible not to like. And if you could construct a guy to wear the start, be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and all that comes with it, I don't think you could do better.
No, it'd be tough to do.
And by the way, his play has been pretty darn good too. Second and goal. Prescott in the shotgun. Redskins showing blitz. He will keep it. He will run it, and down to the 2. Look at the day that he's had after the perfect quarterback rating last week. Well, he's done it all, right? He did throw the pick. He got off to a slow start. Nicholson with the interception. And then since then, he said, yeah, I'm going to turn it on. Deep to Devin Smith. 51 yards. He spread it around. Witten with the touchdown. He's looked so comfortable, Charles. As you said, we saw him with the ground game, a 42-yard run.
And as you pointed out, he's discovered a new weapon in Devin Smith.
Sure has. Third and goal right here. From the 2. He slips, gives it to Elliott, works his way towards the end zone. Touchdown. Back-to-back weeks of 30-plus points against divisional opponents for the Dallas Cowboys.
And right now, if you could cast Jason Garrett, the head coach of the Cowboys, in the role as a boxing trainer, you know what he's been telling his team? Work the body, kid. Work the body, because these body blows have been raining throughout this game with this offensive line, which has gotten us to where we are now. Yes, they've gotten some big plays through the air. But for the most part, Jason Garrett, young offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, they've worked the body, kid. They pounded him and leaned on him and beat on him and opened up this hole and opened up this lead.
And that blows this game open. 10 plays, 54 yards. They're going to check to see in case Elliott didn't get in. Let's see.
Yes. Can we play now? That's really not that hard. I'm sorry. Can we go ahead and play?
His entire torso is in the end zone.
Really not that different. I'm not critical of these things, but at times I wonder why we're taking that much time. That was really easy.
Here's Maher on the extra points. Up and good. The Dallas Cowboys have scored in their last 5 possessions. 4 of them have been touchdowns, and they are dominating here. Dak Prescott and company getting it done as the Cowboys looking to start the year 2-0. Oh, this rivalry historic through the years. One of the greats in sports, legendary coaches too. Tom Landry, of course, 2 Super Bowls for him. Joe Gibbs won 3 times as coach of the Redskins. And of course, our own Jimmy Johnson won 2 as coach of the Dallas Cowboys as we celebrate the 100th year of the NFL. And almost the 60th year of this rivalry. The Cowboys leading this afternoon 31-14. Their offense has really kicked it into gear after a slow start. They've scored in the last 5 possessions. And we were watching Fox NFL Sunday today. The pregame show was nice. He even had Troy Aikman in studio because he's got the Rams Saints today. And what did we learn watching that?
Well, what we learned is our entire group is really bullish on this Dallas team. If you go to the early kickoff show, Tony Gonzalez said, book it. Dallas is going to the playoffs before this game even kicked off. And then when they talked through all the things, Troy talked about the roster, the development of Dak, this team being built to win now. Howie Long talked about that. All those things coming together, but a big part of it is watching the development of this 4th-year quarterback, Dak Prescott, firmly in control of this team, and they will march to the tune that he establishes.
There's Chris Thompson with a big hole, and Redskins need a lot of points, and they need them fast. They're down by 17. Look, Charles, it's hard to make assumptions in the NFL, you know, in the second week because you have some fool's gold. It's hard to tell. Things change. There's a long way to go. But I think the thought coming in that the top 2 teams in the NFC East, like they were last year, the Cowboys and the Eagles, who will duke it out. We had the Eagles-Redskins last week. I don't see how that is different 2 weeks in, or how it will be different, honestly.
Remember, Dallas won the division last year, but we have not had a repeat champion in the NFC East since the Eagles did it in 2003, 2004. So if you're going by that history, it should be the Eagles' turn. But this Dallas Cowboys team here in the first 2 weeks is letting everyone know, you got to come get our crown.
You know, the thing is, too, when you look at the team in front of us that they're playing, and that's the Redskins. You know, there's a lot on drafting the quarterback, and Dwayne Haskins, and when will we see him? Probably not for a while. Case Keenum in there now, throws over the middle, and he has got a completion down there to Vernon Davis. But, you know, Charles, I think the one thing is, and we get a flag actually back at the line of scrimmage.
Roughing the passer, defense number 92. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Cowboys, that's the second one on them today, right? Dorrance Armstrong.
Dorrance Armstrong. Second time.
But what I was going to say is I think the one thing so far has been the Washington defense has been disappointing. We kind of thought this would be a very good unit, and they still might be, but they have not played up to that the first 2 weeks.
No, and they've got a bunch of injuries, have not helped them along. But you're exactly right. Coming into the season, someone asked me, what's your thought of Washington? I said, baseball term, good field, no hit, because we weren't sure about the offense, but we thought the defense had a chance to be a top 5 defense. The injuries have not helped, but you're exactly right. Against Dallas today, there were a few of these drives I didn't see pressure come. You know, Dallas just moved the ball. I didn't see a real change up. And maybe it's because they were worried with all the injuries in the secondary that they couldn't adjust to that.
And that is part of it. They've had so many injury issues the last couple of years. This year already they're extremely banged up. Their best defensive lineman, Jonathan Allen, out. Multiple injuries in the secondary. But here they are working it down the field quickly. That's Smallwood on the catch, close to a first down. And they'll give him the first down, looks like.
And this is what drove Jason Garrett crazy at the end of the Giants game. The way that the Giants just drove the ball down the field so easily, even with a big lead, and they didn't finish and close it out impressively. The same thing is happening right now. Let's see if Dallas can stiffen here near the goal line.
Yeah, he's called them too soft at the end of that game. Smallwood again gets inside the 10. Let's get a game break and check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, might this be another fourth quarter comeback by Arizona? David Johnson's 1-yard score led to a 2-point conversion. The pass from Kyler Murray to Keyshawn Johnson, totally different one, pulled them to within 3. Baltimore's added a field goal, but Kyler Murray has 341 yards passing, and it's a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. Kevin?
Wow.
And you're right about that, Kurt. It is a different Keyshawn Johnson. He even spells it differently. This young man out of Fresno State, and they're the 2 defensive coordinators, because Chris Richard has assumed all the role, all the mantle of it, because Rod Marinelli has ceded it to him. You know, making the play calls now, as well as the media availabilities now. Chris Richard representing
5-yard
Dallas.
penalty. It's second down.
And I'll move back Washington. Listen, Rod Marinelli wants to do one thing, and that is teach.
Yes.
He's among the great teachers and the great coaches this league has ever seen. The amount of defensive linemen that he has coached into greatness. My goodness.
What does he talk about when the defensive ends are playing well and chasing the quarterback? What does he call them? Racing lizards? He said, I need those racing lizards coming off the edge at you.
Second down, it's Keenum. Goes to the far side to Trey Quinn and makes the catch and gets out of bounds. And with 2:58 to go, Redskins need a lot to happen here. Down by 17 as they're trying to avoid falling into an 0-2 hole to start. And the schedule makers did them no favors. Philly and Dallas to start, and then the Bears, the Giants, and the Patriots. I mean,
yeah, they talk about the schedule lightening up in the middle portion, but if you have to go through that gauntlet in the beginning, nothing feels light after that, because you may have lost players, you may have lost games. You don't want to get to that portion of it.
Third down and 4. Keenum looking, throwing, corner of the end zone, incomplete. It was way over the head of McLaurin. Byron Jones was on him. And so 4th and 4.
See, and that's the type of route that, remember, Josh Dotson was drafted to run. And he didn't do well here. They cut him. McLaurin really essentially took his spot. But the size of the player and the type of player, that's what would have been a Dotson specialty. Throw it up in the corner of the end zone, let him go up and get it. McLaurin's not built to that, not built with that size.
Fourth down. Keenum throws. It's caught. It should be a first down. It is. It's not a touchdown, as McLaurin tried to surge his way in there. And Dak was hoping that they stopped him. He's like, all right, I guess I'll go sit down again.
Now just act like I was coming over to talk to you guys.
Exactly right.
Just hey, how's it going? What's happening? But how about McLaurin with another contested catch in traffic?
Yeah, he's been impressive. Keenum looking his way again, tries to get it to him. Almost made a lunging grab, and it's incomplete. We don't know if Washington has their quarterback of the future, Dwayne Haskins, again, the rookie. I'll tell you what, how are you not impressed with him, though?
Look at him work inside on Byron Jones. Ball is there. Look at him make the catch, and he had already gotten past the first down line when he caught the football right there. And then when he got back, they gave him forward progress to give him the first down. He doesn't mind going to the briar patch, does he?
No. 2:20 to go. Second down and goal.
Vernon Davis has a matchup with a linebacker, Jalen Smith.
They're trying to get McLaurin to score, and they get it to him, and he's got it for the touchdown.
Well thrown ball there by Case Keenum on the back shoulder, and McLaurin adjusted well. Tough to get a play against Byron Jones. He doesn't give up much. You know, last year in 2 games against Washington, he gave up 1 catch. And that's a gorgeous throw right there. And McLaurin, nice concentration. And again, contested, but he pulls it away. Loves to work on those 50-50 balls. And I'm telling you, he's winning 95% of those 50-50 balls here in the early game.
Man, he's been so good. It's 2 weeks in, but I mean, how do you not like what you see?
You got to love it. And that's what Washington saw, and that's why Josh Dotson ended up in Minnesota after Washington cut him.
So McLaurin's touchdown makes it a 10-point game. Washington still holding on for some hope. 2:17 to go. And back here in Landover, Maryland, where the Cowboys have a 10-point lead over the Redskins. Alex Smith on the left, Daniel Snyder, the Redskins owner, on the right. You forget, and as the Redskins place it down inside the 5, and it'll be picked up there with 2:13 to go. And now a penalty flag. Charles, you forget. I think most people do. Well, not you. I know you don't forget. But with Alex Smith at the controls, this team was in first place. They were 6-3 when he suffered that horrific leg injury against the Texans. And he is one of the winners in this league. And it's been a long road back from that leg injury. Don't know that they're going to get him back this year. But you forget that. They were a first place team. They never turned the ball over. They were efficient. They were good on defense. And then it all fell apart and hasn't been put back together since.
Went from 6-3 to winning 1 game down the stretch and missing the playoffs essentially by 1 game.
Yeah.
Remember, they beat this Dallas team here last year, 20-17. That's the last loss that Dallas has in the NFC East.
Trap. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Cowboys will run it here, and they'll get it to Elliott on the short carry. Washington takes a timeout. They will. Prescott this half, 14-14, by the way, 159 yards. And we'll be right back after this message from Hulu. It looks pretty cool on Hulu. A little special on Wu-Tang. Dollar bills, I think Dak will be saying that in a couple weeks. Maybe.
May not take a couple weeks.
May take tomorrow. The way he's played the first 2 weeks. Here he is on the rollout. Going to keep it and run. Just looking to get that first down, and he will. And he's taken down. It'll be a first down for the Cowboys. It'll take us to the 2-minute warning where the Cowboys have the ball and a 10-point lead.
Sometimes I don't speak right. All right. But yet I know what I'm talking about. I can't be fair. I can't be fair.
I'm not sure that Jay Gruden and Greg Minuski are friends right now, or anybody else on that Washington sideline. It has been a rough 2 weeks for them, as they blew a 17-0 lead, lost to the Eagles last week, and here had the early lead. It was only 7-0 in this one, but the Cowboys offense has just dominated, especially in the second half, to the tune of 441 yards. And the Redskins call their final timeout, down 10 with 1:54 to go.
And you just sense that, for Greg Minuski as a defensive coordinator, almost felt like his hands were tied at different times in terms of things he may have wanted to do with all the injuries in the secondary. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie played throughout a game that we watched him hobble from early in the first quarter. Because they're running out of bodies. DeShazer Everett had to come in and play corner out of position, something he hasn't done since college. And sometimes you wonder about those checks, communication, and you want to get more basic so you don't have blown coverages, yet they had a few of those anyway.
Here's Elliott looking to run this clock out, and a good hard run out across the 30 to the 32. Let's get another game break and check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Kevin. Actually want to let you guys know what's coming up next. It's America's Game of the Week. Drew Brees and the Saints looking to avenge their NFC Championship loss against that guy, Jared Goff, and the Rams. It's in Los Angeles, and it's next. Joe, Troy, and Aaron have the call. Kevin?
Slightly highly anticipated, Carissa, huh? That's that is going to be something else. I'll tell you what. One person I wouldn't want to be is the officiating crew in that game. Think they're going to be under scrutiny?
You think?
I mean, my goodness, Walt Anderson and his crew have that game. That won't be an easy one to work.
Well, at least they brought in a Super Bowl referee. Walt Anderson's officiated the biggest game. So
3rd down and 5. Elliott is going to get the first and then some. Ezekiel Elliott all the way down to the 40. And that is going to put him over 100 yards for the day.
I told you, Cabo, that's where you got to go get ready for the season, man.
It's amazing. Most just go there to drink margaritas. He goes there and gets better.
Goes there and trains and works out, brings people in, brings in Hall of Fame runners to help him get in condition. And it was interesting, one of his quotes was, we tried to replicate training camp as much as possible. Remember when Adrian Peterson came to Washington last year, Kevin, and they signed him late in the deal? They asked him, have you maintained all this? He said, in my training at home, I tried to replicate what I would do in training camp, not just your normal training.
Cowboys will take a knee. Charles, that's it. That Cabo training camp, maybe everyone will be there next year. Who knows? I know this. The Cowboys look good, and they're 2-0 to start the year, beating the Redskins 31-21 here today. And you see, that's a pretty good number for the Dallas Cowboys with a 10-point victory. For our entire NFL on Fox crew, Pam Oliver, Charles Davis, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Thank you for watching. A lot more football on Fox as we now throw it to Kurt Menefee in the State Farm Game Break Show from Los Angeles.